Things and the most historic things are here on this end of the table. Right there on the table, you get a close-up look if you'd like. That is a cell from Steamboat Willie, from the original first Mickey Mouse cartoon that the public ever saw. And that is the original background and an original cell of Mickey and the Parrot from Steamboat Willie. Those are extremely rare. I don't know how much you know about cell animation, but especially in the early days, celluloid was expensive, and so they would do the celluloid cells. They would photograph them, and then they had somebody who would wash it all off. They'd wash the paint off and they'd reuse the cell. And so the black and white cells are extremely rare, and so that's a pretty special one. And it also has the original background, which is also pretty rare. This, though, is probably the crown jewel in here. This is the original script to Steamboat Willie. So Steamboat Willie came out on November 18th, 1928. It premiered at the McCarthy Circle Theater in New York, which is now the Broadway Theater. And this is the script that was written when they made that cartoon. So the drawings are done by Iwerks, who was our kind of first and best animator. And we're pretty sure that the story was typed up by Walt Disney himself. And it was the first use of storyboarding that we know of. They created the idea of drawing pictures to go with the action. And they did it first in a script, and then they eventually started pinning the sketches up on boards. And that's where the term storyboard came from. That's, of course, used in all manner of media now, from television and films to commercials and everything else. Everything gets storyboarded now so that they can make sure that the storyline works. But this is the very first one. Next to that, this is a pretty special little piece, kind of unassuming little, battered tablet, school tablet, and it's a child's plaything. It came out in 1930, and this is the very first piece of Mickey Mouse merchandise. Wow. The school tablet right there. Walt Disney was in New York working on his Mickey Mouse cartoons and trying to seek some funding and distribution. And he was in a hotel, and in the hotel lobby, a man came running up to him with $300 in his hand and said, I would like to have the rights to put Mickey Mouse on a school tablet. And Walt needed the money desperately, so he said, sure. And that's what happened. So that was the very, very first piece of Mickey Mouse merchandise. And so we have it here in the archives.
And does he still own the rights?
Oh no, he just bought it for that product.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We do license Mickey Mouse all over the world now. We have since 1930. Some of the other really fun things, there's some first books published about Mickey Mouse. The first Disney book is this one right here, The Story of Mickey Mouse book, kind of imaginatively titled. These are wonderful. These are the first plush dolls of Mickey Mouse. These two up here were handmade and given to Walt by a woman named Charlotte Clark. Charlotte was a local woman who lived here in Burbank, and she loved Mickey. She loved the Mickey cartoons, and she was a seamstress, and so she thought it'd be really fun to make dolls of Mickey and Minnie. And so she made those and gave them to Walt, and he loved them. And so he said, you know what, I think we should make more dolls and sell them. And so he had her make more. So she eventually got to where she was making dolls like this. She was hand making all these dolls, and he set up shop for her over near the studio in the Los Feliz area. He rented a little house and got her some other seamstresses, and they hand made all these dolls. They sold thousands of them. And it got to the point where the demand was too high, so she ended up making a McCall's pattern that you could buy and make them yourself. And then after that, they actually got a licensee named Knickerbocker to start mass producing them. But really fun. If you see the Mickey Mouse themed member gift that we're giving out this year, there's a sample of, oh, Jeffrey's got one in here.
Becky, did you mention the member?
Oddly enough.
That was right on time.
Yeah, the Walt Disney Archives was most of the stuff in here came from the Walt Disney Archives collections. And so that little doll is represented in this box. And you can see here, there's the first page of the script there of Steamboat Willie. And then, let's see if I can find it here. Ah, yes. There's a reproduction of the packaging of the McCall's pattern that Charlotte Clark made, which is really fun. And so this is a real special piece. And those are the dolls that she made. Another couple really interesting things. This is the first Mickey Mouse watch. Came out in 1933 from Ingersoll Watch. And actually, the watch saved the Ingersoll Company from bankruptcy. They were having a really hard time. It was during the Depression, and they made this watch for the 1933 World Fair in Chicago, and it sold so well that they were able to pull themselves out of bankruptcy. And Ingersoll is still they're still working today. The name has changed. It became U.S. Time and then eventually Timex. And so it's the same company, and they still make watches, and you can still buy Mickey watches. Some really fun things. This little trike is really great. This is from the 30s. But these two pieces are from a little later. These are from the 50s. Interestingly enough, this is one of the very first Mickey Mouse ears. So you can see there aren't any ears on it. And I think the reason for that is that this was the first season of the Mickey Mouse Club. I think they actually took the ears off and put them on these for the second season. So we have one pair from that. So, but these are the very first Mickey Mouse ears. They just had the M the first season. And then they had the bullseye logo that is familiar from Mickey Mouse Club. But if you get up close and look at them, you can see they're handmade and hand-stitched. And I think it was just too much trouble to make the ears again. So they just took them off of those and put them on here. A really fun piece is this Engineer Mickey. Now, you've seen the Charlotte Clark dolls, which you could buy, and so they're very rare, but there's a lot of them out there. This one is one of a kind. It's a very only Engineer Mickey doll, and it was made specifically for one purpose, and it rode with Walt in on the train for the opening day of Disneyland. And so when you see the footage of Dateline Disneyland, the television show, July 17th, 1955, when Walt steams in for the opening of the park, he's got Mickey with him in the engine, and that's the Mickey. So he's here safely here in the archives. Some other fun things that you might remember from the 70s. I sure do. Mickey Mouse telephone. Hi, Mickey. And then, of course, Mickey Mouse disco. Who doesn't remember that? And if you don't admit it. Mickey Mouse, This Is My Life. And, of course, from the 50th anniversary of Disneyland, the golden anniversary of Disneyland, this was Mickey's costume. And this is really a fun piece. This is the newest piece in the archives. We just got this a couple days ago. And actually, I'm lying. This is not the newest piece. I'll show you the newest one in just a moment. But this one we got 2 days ago. And this is from Paradise Pier at Disney California Adventure. They have recently remodeled and redone the pier. And so this was sent to the archives to be part of our collection for posterity. But I love the way it ties back to our very first items there. So Steamboat Willie is still a major part of Disney history, and we're still using things with Steamboat Willie today. And of course,
Becky, I wanted to say, Kristen mentioned Destination D during the last presentation, and there's going to be an exhibit that the archives is putting together.
Right, we're doing an exhibition for Destination D in Florida at the Contemporary Resort. We always do a little side exhibit as part of the event, and this one is going to be Mickey Mouse themed to celebrate this year's anniversary, and it'll be focusing on Mickey Mouse in the parks and how he appears in the parks as kind of our host-in-chief and favorite person to visit at the parks is Mickey. So that'll be at Destination D as well. And of course, the theme for Destination D is there's a lot more to do with Mickey Mouse, and I get to do my favorite one, which is Weird Mickey. So I do presentations about gently weird Disney things that are kind of, I should change that to quirky Disney, but we call it Weird Mickey, but it's kind of fun. Some early things were not always on model in the early days, let's just put it that way. And so some of them are kind of fun to look back at. It's kind of a retrospective thing. So I'll be doing that, which will be a lot of fun. But I want to share something pretty special with you today. This is actually the newest item in the archives, because it just got here this morning. If any of you attended Comic-Con a few weeks ago or saw what we did there, one of the things that we did is unveil the newest portrait of Mickey Mouse. We always do an annual Mickey Mouse birthday portrait. The first one is there from the 25th. And this, Kelsey's going to help me here so I don't pull it off the wall, is our newest Mickey Mouse 90th anniversary portrait. Isn't that pretty? It was done by legendary animator Mark Henn, who most people, I think he's most famous for animating Belle in the original Beauty and the Beast. He's a wonderful artist, and he did that for Mickey's 90th. It's kind of a, the first portrait there was done in 1953, and that was Mickey's 25th anniversary portrait. Walt Disney had kind of a contest with the animators to see who could come up with the best portrait to celebrate Mickey's 25th anniversary, and the one he liked the best was from John Hench, and so that's the first one we have there. And then for every major anniversary after that, John Hench would do a portrait. Well, we lost John a few years back. He was with the company for, oh my goodness, he was in his 90s when he passed away, and worked for the company for 65 years, I think, something like that. And of course, he's not with us anymore. So for the 80th anniversary, we had a portrait done by Paul Felix, who is the art director of Bolt and has done a lot of Disney animation. And then this year's 90th anniversary celebration, we decided to ask Mark Henn to do it. So that is the official.